he doesn't have anything that's cookie cutter. For example, he's very intelligent when it comes to processing rock and crushing and screening. Uh, Very much devoted his life to that. So he knows exactly how he likes things built, with little tweaks in it that maybe the other things you wouldn't get from a standard off the shelf product from a dealer from another manufacturer, perhaps. And he likes to come and put his twist on things, to the point where he'll come here and sit down, pull up a chair beside our engineers, draw up his equipment the way he wants it, go out in the factory while the guys are building it, and dig right in there hands on with while we're doing it. So, and he's actually made us a better manufacturer. Some of the things that we've learned, the skills that we've learned building some of the things for him, we've incorporated some of those ideas and other things that we fabricate, and he's made us better.
Let's stop and think about how this system would work. So I made a very, very crude model, just snapping some Legos together over the course of an hour, and and the driver behind it was just to figure out the geometry behind the system, how the conveyors would interact with one another, the forces at play, and how if we had the track drives on the crusher, how that would interact and move all three conveyors. So that started the process. I have a designer, Jim Lay, who's been with me for several years, and so I obviously called Jim up and said, hey, I've got this idea. So he and I went to work. So I went to Walnut and sat down, spent a day and a half with Jack and Mike and Will, and known them, obviously since known Mike and Will since 2004, and they've done a lot of work for us in between, building some structure, building conveyors, and so said, hey, here's what we're looking at doing. Here's how we think it'll function. Here's how we need things to work as far as automation, hydraulics, auto leveling, etc. Here's our concepts on how it should function, what will make it function and not bind up. So we laid all this out over a couple hours and had a real, just a very candid discussion. I said, now here's what I want you to tell me. I don't want you to tell me why it'll work. I want you to tell me why it won't work. I want you to poke holes. What are we missing? Why won't this function? And at the end of it, after about 3 hours of talking through it and explaining and answering questions, I remember Mike said, you know what? I don't see why this won't work. I think we can make this thing work. And Jack and Will agreed. So we solved some problems that day, talked about joints, about how to connect. Do we make, put carrier and vertical roller bearings in the joints? How do we go about doing some of these things? And there were so many problems to solve, you couldn't do them all in a day and a half. We spent 2 years solving problems on the thing. So we went back the next day, we worked and started modeling some things and drawing some things up in 2D. Called Jack, told him and Will, said, hey, I think we've got it. And another thing, TCI, very resourceful. They brought in a hydraulics and automation company, because this is not what I crush rock, and I don't, I'm typically not designing things this intricate. So they hooked us up with an outfit out of Iowa, and we met with them, told them what we needed, and they went to work and designed the automation, the radio controls, the hydraulic systems. They helped design the carrier that moves the jaw crusher, and all the hydraulics on it. So TCI built the doghouse for the carrier, shipped it out to this company. The company put everything in it, powered it, and I worked through all the issues with them. We ended up with a V10 Ford gas engine actually driving the machine. The challenges on designing a system like this are unreal, and I bet the farm on it. I don't like taking that big a risk though, but it was a very expensive machine to design and build. And was I nervous when we had it all hooked together and the first time we fired it up and crawled it? Yes, I was. And TCI hooked us up with an engineering firm. They reviewed everything. We ran snow loads, ice load, snow load calculations, wind calculations on it. That being said, things still go wrong. had a high level of confidence it would work, but still you don't know. So when we fired it up and drove it, and it actually, things started auto leveling and doing what they were supposed to do, and nothing broke in half after we crawled it across the pit and parked it at the face ready to start feeding it. It was a good day. When I call TCI, somebody answers the phone. I'm talking to a person, not a machine. That is something that exemplifies their level of service. And our companies, we do not have voice answering systems. Somebody that's alive with a pulse answers the phone to take care of the customer. And it doesn't stop there. You know, the reason I went to TCI with this project in particular was because I needed a company that had people at the helm who had a lot of experience. And also, though, that being said, I needed people, though, who were willing to go out and try something new and not shoot down every idea. There are other companies out there I could have taken this to, and they either would not have been interested in it, or they would have said, that ain't gonna work. And with TCI, I didn't worry about that. I went to them and said, here's what I'm thinking. Here's our concept. We think it'll work. Tell us why it won't. Like I said, in 4 hours, I think it'll work. And we rolled up the sleeves and went to work and designed it. And watching them grow, knowing that they, and in fact, you know, Mike designed the PEP screen. So that's somebody right there who can look at a problem and come up with a unique solution to solve it. And that's what we were trying to do. So it was just the right fit. And they were big enough to do it and small enough to still be able to pull it off and do it because they were nimble. And that's a big part of it.
To go from a napkin drawing to see it actually in the quarry, making rock, you know, or transferring rock, whatever it's doing is incredibly rewarding. It's hard to beat. It really is. And I think that most of everybody here at TCI has that passion also, and really enjoys that. Really enjoys that. We anything that we could do to satisfy a customer. When you get somebody like Brad Ward, who's very well known in the industry as an expert in crushing and screening, and in the fact that he keeps coming back here to us and we keep doing projects with him, it just validates that everything we're doing around here is the right way of doing things. So all about customer service.